Hello and welcome to the 8th episode in this series of videos on how to make a game in GameMaker. We're getting close to the end now, and in this episode I'm just going to show you how to make a start screen or a title screen for your game that loads up when we open the game, allows us to click play to start playing the game or exit to close the window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a website over here called photop.com. I'm going to use this to design my title screen. So photop.com, I'm going to go to new project. If you recall, if we go over here and we look at our room, you'll see that the size of our viewport, so the actual window that we're looking through, is 1200 by 600. So that's how big I'm going to make my picture. So in Photop, after clicking on a new project, I'm going to go over here. So I'm going to make this 1200 in width and 600 in height. There we go. I'm just going to go to create. Now you can use whichever tools you like. I'm going to very quickly just select a gradient over here, gradient tool. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to select some colors. So I'm going to make it. I'm going to go from a kind of pinkish color over here. Double click over here. Select a sort of cyan, sort of blue color. There you go. That'll do. There you go. I don't want that there. Click on that. Delete that. There we go. So from pink to blue, okay. And now I'm just going to drag a line across here. So there you go, there's my gradient. Very nice. But if I click on the text tool, I'm going to click over here. Go over here and draw a text box. And I'll just make it a little bit wider. I'm an ICT teacher. Get me out of here. Now if I select it, I can click here to center it. I can change the size of here, scale it up a bit too big. There we go. And I'm going to warp it. So if I use this, I'm going to select the arc, and that's a bit too much. And there we go, just a little bit like that. Okay, so that looks like that at the moment. Use the move tool over here to move things around. I want to add a bit of an effect to it. So if I right click on this now, go to the blending options, I'm going to choose the stroke to add an outline. I'm going to change the color over here to white. There you go. The position, outside. Going to change the size. Scroll up a bit. There we go. I like that. And I'm also going to add an outer glow and make it quite big. So change the size. There we go. I like that. I'll do. Okay. I could spend a lot more time making this, but for now, I'm happy with this, like that. I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Export as PNG. So export as PNG. Keep it the same size, but I'm going to give it a sensible name. So I'm just going to call it Sprite Title Screen. There you go. Save it. I'm going to go here now. So that's gone to my downloads folder. You should save it onto your school username. So, okay, there we go. I'm going to now go to GameMaker, Sprites. I'm going to right click, as I've done before when I've drawn them myself, go to create sprite. But this time I'm going to press the import button, which we haven't done before. But import, I'm going to open my downloads folder, click yes. So importing files to Sprite is not an undoable action. That's fine. Yes. So there we go. That's that. Now going to create a new room. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to duplicate this room. But duplicate that. I'm going to call this title underscore screen. There we go. I'm now going to double click on that, and of course I want to just get rid of everything. So make sure I'm on my instances layer, hold shift, select everything. There we go. And in the width here, I'm just going to make this 1200 by 600, so it's the same size as the actual title screen. There we go. I'm going to zoom in a bit on it. Now what I want to do is go to this background layer here. And here I can select that image I've just created. So click on that. Oh, actually, I didn't actually give it a sensible name, did I? Let's go back. I just called it Sprite 9. I'm going to rename that. So I'm going to rename. So it's Sprite underscore title underscore screen. There we go. So go to my sprites over here, sprites again. Here it is, sprite title screen, and that is now the background for this room, for this touchscreen room. Next, we want to have two buttons, one that says play, one that says exit. So I'm going to go back to Photopea, I'm going to make a new image. I'm going to make these, let's say about 200 by 200 in width with a height of 100. So 200 by 100. There we go. I'm going to go to create. Okay, nice and small. I'll zoom in a little bit. I'm going to just put, I can use the shape tool. I'm going to get a rectangle. I'm going to put that there in the middle. I'm also going to hide the background layer so that we've got transparency behind us instead of just a white square. Here we go. So that's our rectangle. I'm going to double click on this over here to choose the color of rectangle. And what I want it to be a dark grey for now. I'm going to get the text tool. I'm going to just say play inside there, make it a little bit smaller. And I don't really want it to be that high. Let's just see. Will it let me move the text? There you go. So play like that. I'm just going to go to File, Export as PNG. I'll go call it play button 1, save. And what I also want is that when we hover over it, I want the play text to light up. So I'm going to switch the color of that from black to white. Let's see what that looks like now. There we go. So I'm going to go to File, Export as PNG. I'm going to call this play button 2. 2. Save. I'm going to do the same with the word exit as well. Exit. We'll just make sure that's in the center. Right, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to my sprites. So I'm going to create my first sprite. I'm going to import play button 1. Okay. I'm going to call this sprite play button. I'm now going to create another sprite. So I'm going to go again, create sprite, import again, play button 2. Yes, and I'm going to call this one sprite play button hover. There we go. And now I'm going to go up to my objects. I'm going to create a new object. I'm going to call it object play button. And the default sprite is going to be the one with the black text. I'm going to add an event. I'm going to go to draw this time. And what the draw does now, typically the program will automatically draw everything on each frame, but using the draw you can tell it what to draw, so we can control the way the sprite looks. So for this, what we want to do is we want it to check if the mouse is hovering over the sprite, and if it is, we're going to change it to the second sprite, the hover sprite. Now this doesn't seem very elegant, so if anyone could find something, a better way of doing this, please let me know. But for now, I'm going to do if mouse x and mouse x is lower than x plus sprite width, so sprite underscore width. So what this is doing, first of all, is checking if the mouse is basically in the same x position, or if it's somewhere along the line of the play button's x position. And then we want to do the same for y. So if mouse x is greater than x and mouse x is lower than x plus sprite width, and mouse y is greater than y and mouse underscore y is lower than y plus sprite underscore height. Then, so use the curly brackets, sprite index, this is where we can change the sprite that we use for the image here. So sprite index equals sprite play button hover. There we go. And then else, so basically if the mouse isn't over it, we can set the sprite index to sprite index equals sprite play button. So what that will do is set it to the default sprite that we want. And then what we have to do with the draw is we have to do draw underscore self. The draw underscore self, you have to put that at the end of the draw code, otherwise it just won't draw the object. So that's that. And then what we do is we're going to go to add event. We're going to go to mouse left down. So basically if we left click on the object and we just want to go to room, go to next. There you go. So as long as the title screen is the first room in our game, it will take us to the next room. So I'm going to go to title screen here. Now over here at the moment you can see that room 1 is my first room, where it's got that home icon on it. But if I click on this button here with the arrows and I move the title screen up to the top like that, that means that's now the first level in our game. I'm going to go onto the title screen level over here. I'm going to drag the play button object. I have to make sure I'm on my instances layer. It won't let me do that on a background layer. So I'll select the instance layer up here. So I'll try again. Object play button, put that there. So I'll run it now. And it should change to the hover sprite when I hover over it. And it should also take us to the next level when I click on it. There we go. Okay, so I click on it. There you go. Starts the game. So we want to do the same now, but for our exit button, so just to close the game. So I'm going to make 2 new sprites. So create sprite, import again. I'm going to import my exit button 1. Okay, I'm going to call this sprite exit button. Just going to duplicate this. I'm going to call it sprite exit button underscore hover. Make sure I double click on it and import it. So I'm going to import exit button 2. So just like we did before. There we go. Now then, what I can do now is I can just duplicate this because the code is going to be exactly the same for the exit button, except we want it to exit instead of go to the next level. So I'm just going to duplicate our object play button over here. I'm going to change its name to object exit button. There you go. And then I'm going to double click on that so I can modify its code. So the sprite I'm going to use is obviously going to be the exit sprite. So that's going to be this one here. I'm going to change the draw code so that instead of saying sprite play button hover, it's going to be sprite exit button hover, and sprite index, we're going to change that to sprite exit button. There we go. And then going to go to the left down. I'm going to change that from room go to next to game underscore end. It's this one here. So game underscore end bracket bracket. And that should be it. I just need to actually put the exit button on my title screen. So move these, make them a bit more centered. There we go. So I'll run it once and just check that the play button works. There you go. So the hover code works for both. If I click exit, there we go, it closes it. And I'll try and press play. There we go. And so that's how we make a title screen for our game.